What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Dylan Matthews. I'm back on the Hometown Take podcast. It's episode 2, people. Episode 2. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm ready to give y'all this content. It's going to be great, man. First things first. Shout out to everybody that sent me some kind words, sent me a text, told me, they're going to be supporting and looking out for me. And, there's plenty of people I'm going to link up with, I'm going to collab with during this whole process, man. So I just want to say I appreciate all of y'all. My brother Rick, shout out to Justin Douglas, shout out to Zach, shout out to Simone, shout out to Siobhan, shout out to my boy Ethan. So many people, man, that, subscribed and supporting the movement right now, supporting the podcast. So I just want to let all y'all know how appreciative I am of y'all and the support y'all have given me thus far. So on episode 2 today, we're going to get into some UGA football because I don't know what is going on up there at UGA, but something must be in the water right about now because some of these players tripping. Like, they tripping for real. I don't know what they on right now, but Kirby got to get them boys right. And I ain't talking about on the field, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, what I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all? What needs help? The bullpen. What did we not fix? The bullpen. Goodness gracious, man. Oh, y'all lucky I didn't do this episode after the first day because I was ready to go off. And after the second day, I was ready to go off even more. And after the third day, oh my goodness. Wee. I was irate after game 3. Irate. I was livid after game 3 after seeing these performances by the bullpen. Okay, I know we got kind of a mediocre Julio on opening day, game 1 against the Phillies. We were already down 3-1, but come on, bullpen. Y'all can't stop the bleeding? Y'all can't give the offense a chance to get back in it? The bullpen gave up 7 runs. 7 runs. Shane Carl gave up 2 walks and a 3-run homer in the 6th to Maikel Franco. And then in the 7th, Luke Jackson walked Andrew McCutchen. Then Segura got the first on an infield single. Then he got the second on a throwing error by Luke Jackson. So now with runners on second and third, Jackson intentionally walks Bryce Harper, which, okay, not his call. So, that was Snit's call on that, which is an understandable call. But then Luke Jackson goes and gives up a grand slam to Rhys Hoskins. Wow. Just wow. I mean, he wasn't in the greatest position, but when you walk people, that's the kind of position you get put in, and you got to get yourself out. If we had a pitcher, I don't know, better than Luke Jackson, no offense to Luke Jackson, he's in the bigs for a reason, but we don't know how long he's going to be in there after seeing him this first week. Just being honest, calling it how I see it. After seeing that, I don't know how long he's going to be in the bigs, but my point being, we got to be able to stop the bleeding. Down 3-1, we got to keep the score as is. We got to at least keep the status quo. Give our offense the chance to get us back in it. Because our offense, they showed you we can score some runs. We can put runs together easily. Our bullpen just has to either stop the bleeding or keep us in the game or keep the lead for us to extend upon. Our bullpen did really none of that this whole first week, this whole opening week, these first 2 series. And I'm disappointed, and I am upset at this point. I'm like Drake. I'm upset. Very upset right about now. So that was game 1. Bullpen gave up 7 runs, couldn't stop the bleeding. Game 2, same story, couldn't stop the bleeding. Wes Parsons started out nice in the bullpen. After Bryce Wilson gave up the lead to the Phillies, Parsons came in, bottom of the 4th, got 2 outs, and got out of the 4th clean. So, okay. Thought we were looking better. However, it didn't take long for Wes Parsons' clean sheet to quickly get dirty. Next time, Parsons without the pitch, which was in the bottom of the 5th inning, gives up a 2-run homer to JT Realmuto after the Braves have just tied it up. So, Bryce Wilson gives up the lead. It's 4-3 going into the bottom of the 4th. Wes Parsons comes in, gets out of the 4th clean, like I just said. Top of the 5th, Braves tied up. It's 4-4. We're starting over clean. This is when the bullpen needs to keep the status quo. 4-4, Braves just got the lead back. We're getting some momentum on our side. We have to at least keep it 4-4. Let the Braves get the lead. What happens? We go into the bottom of the fifth. 2-run homer to JT Realmuto. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Braves just tied it up, and we give it up just like that. Come on, man. Goodness gracious. To make matters worse, Jesse Biddle gives up a home run to Bryce Harper, a moonshot, his first home run as a Philadelphia Philly, off Jesse Biddle and the Braves. Yep, sour taste in the mouth right there. Definitely was. Then, to just keep adding on, just throwing dirt on it, we give up some more runs. Chad Sabaka gave up another run. Even though Josh Tomlin was pitching, the run is going to technically go to Sabaka just because he came in with the runner already on base. So technically run goes to Sabaka. But the point being, again, the bullpen could not stop the bleeding. But we went out and got Josh Donaldson and Brian McCann. You know, Josh Donaldson could be a great pickup. Brian McCann, I like him better than Trey Flowers. Actually like him a lot better than Trey Flowers. No offense to Trey, but B-Mac is more experienced, has a better bat. So I like the pickups, but it's not what we needed. Our offense, like I said, was fine. You can tell, obviously, our bullpen is not. Game 3. Bullpen couldn't keep the Braves in it. Couldn't keep the status quo. And then I also want to get this off my chest. I have a huge problem with Brian Snitker taking the guys out so early, taking the starters out so early when they're doing well or when they get in a little bit of a jam. Brian, this is how young pitchers get experience. You have to give them a chance to grow up and get out of the jam themselves. You can't baby them and just take them out once they get in the slightest bit of trouble or the slightest bit of a jam. Kyle Wright, through 4 1/3 innings, had only given up 2 hits, 5 walks, and a run. For his first major league start ever, that's not bad at all. That's pretty darn good. He gets into a little jam after he walks Andrew McCutchen and hits Segura with a pitch, so there were runners on first and second with 1 out. And instead of letting Kyle Wright even attempt to get out of the jam, Snitker pulls him. You can probably guess what happens after that. Max Fried comes in and gives up the lead. But no, we had to go to the bullpen that had been doing oh so well the past 2 games. Yep. Bring Max Fried in, gives up the lead. He walks Hoskins and gives up a run and then Realmuto hits a sac fly to make it 3-1. Fast forward to the bottom of the 7th, still 3-1. Shane Carl gives up a homer to Harper to make it 4-1, and then good old Luke Jackson comes in and gives up another run, and then the score stays 5-1, and that's how the game ended, and that's how the series ended, in a sweep. We were in position to possibly win all 3 games. Bullpen didn't help at all. They either gave up the lead or they just made it worse. Didn't help at all. But we need Josh Donaldson and Brian McCann. We don't need Craig Kimbrell. We don't need a Dallas Keuchel, who are still out there, by the way. To this day, as I'm talking, they're still free agents to be signed. They could be signed right now. But no. We're just going to keep it as is, I guess, when it comes to the bullpen. Hopefully Darren O'Day makes a difference. Hopefully A.J. Minter makes a difference. Question marks, once again. Braves pitching staff full of question marks. Goodness gracious, man. I had to get that off my chest. I'm sorry. I had to just start off at this negative tone, but it's just frustrating when the team has so much potential and you have the money to put the team over the top, but you don't. Like, why? We have the assets. We have the cap space. This team could win a World Series right now. We could be We could be World Series contenders if we would just spend the necessary money and get the necessary assets to get us over the hump, but we don't. And as a fan, it's frustrating. So frustrating. Especially after seeing what I saw this first week. The bullpen killed us. And if they didn't kill us that game, they just made it worse. They didn't make it better. They didn't stop the bleeding. They didn't do anything to help. I don't know, man. It's just frustrating. I told y'all, I'm going to keep it 100. And like I said, I'm not excited about these 2 wins against the Cubs. First game, we won 8-0. I'm happy that we won. Don't get me wrong. I'm super happy that we won. But when the Cubs have 2 errors in the first inning and 6 errors throughout the entire game, when any baseball team has 6 errors throughout the entire game, I don't care what team it is. The Bad News Bears would have won that game against the Cubs. Like, let's just be honest with ourselves. The Cubs had 6 errors. Most baseball teams don't have more than 1 or 2 throughout the entire game. They had 6 in the entire game. They had 2 in the first inning. That team was not in sync that day. I don't know what Cubs team that was that we were watching, but that was not the Cubs team that we're used to seeing as of recently. So the Braves should have won that game point blank, period. I'm not impressed that they kept the 0 on the board because by the time that the bullpen came in, which was the 5th inning, it was already 5-0. And in the bottom of the 5th, the Braves added another run. Actually, they added 2 more runs, to make it 7-0. So by the top of the 6th inning, it was 7-0. And then the Braves got another run in the bottom of the 6th. So by the time it was the top of the 7th inning, it was 8-0. So no, I am not impressed that the bullpen kept that. You were facing an out-of-sync Cubs team that night, and I am not impressed at all. It was opening day for you guys. You guys had all the momentum. The crowd was crazy. It was a great atmosphere for the hometown Braves. I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all by the bullpen. Impressed by the offense. Impressed by everything else, the fans, all of that. You guys are great. You came out amazing. Even you drowned out the Cubs fans. Great. I'm impressed by everything except the bullpen. They had a lead. They had no stress on them. Not impressed. And I'm also not impressed by the win earlier today. Well, I'm recording this, late at night, really early the next morning. Either way it goes. The Braves last game, not impressed. Because the bullpen blew the lead and the offense bailed you out. When Julio Teheran left after the 5th inning, the Braves had a 2-1 lead. We got good Julio tonight. 1 run, 6 hits, but 7 strikeouts and only 3 walks. So we got good Julio tonight. Still inconsistent, but I'm glad we at least got good Julio tonight. But Julio leaves after 5 innings. So what happens in the top of the 6th when the bullpen comes in? Johnny Venters gives up the 2-run home run to Wilson Contreras. And then in the top of the 7th, Jesse Biddle gives up a couple of hits, and then Anthony Rizzo scores on a wild pitch. So that makes it 4-2. But luckily for our bullpen, Johan Camargo, the guy who, sits now and is a utility player because we just had to get Josh Donaldson instead of getting, a bullpen arm. But I digress on that. Camargo bailed us out when Camargo bailed us out. The bases were loaded after the Braves walked basically to get all the bases loaded. Sijic was pitching for the Cubs, and he walked Freeman. Then he walked Acuna. Then he walked Markakis. He came out. Rosario came in, and then that's when Camargo hit the bases clearing double to give the Braves the lead, and luckily, Vizcaíno did what he needed to do, what he was supposed to do. I'm not impressed by that either. He just did what he was supposed to do and get the save. So the Braves end up winning. We need help in the bullpen. We need help in the bullpen. If we want to win a World Series, if we want to win the NL East, we probably should think about doing something about the bullpen pretty soon. Trade deadline, I don't know when, but the Braves have to do something about this bullpen because it is atrocious right now. It is hot garbage. It is inconsistent. It is unreliable. This bullpen is ridiculous right now, and not in a good way. I feel a little bit better. Not that much better because our bullpen is still trash. And I know it's harsh. I know you guys are probably thinking, Dylan, you should be happy that the Braves, they're on the winning side now, 2 wins in a row after getting swept. No, I'm not happy. Okay, yes, the offense is great. I already knew that. You're not telling me anything by telling me the offense is good. I knew our offense was fine. I told you in the first episode the offense was fine. We had to address the bullpen, and we didn't, and it reared its ugly head, and it's still rearing its ugly head throughout the first week of the season, and I promise you, it's probably not going to get that much better. Unless Darren O'Day and AJ Minter just come in here and change the whole dynamic of the bullpen, unless they just come in and change everything, it's not going to get that much better. Still going to be shaky. Still going to be inconsistent. Still going to have you on the edge of your seat thinking, oh, are they going to keep this lead for us? Oh, are we going to be able to get back in it now that we're into the bullpen? Who knows? I know I don't. I can only hope for the best, but after seeing what I saw this first week, I'm not sure. Like I said, the Braves are second right now behind the Phillies. Might even be third behind the Nats. We'll see. At least the Nats beat the Phillies. They beat the Phillies. So they've done something this season that we haven't yet. I know it was the opening series. I guess the pitchers are maybe still shaking the cobwebs off, but still, that was ridiculous. What I saw this first week from our bullpen, ridiculous. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not feeling good, just to be honest with you guys. I'm not feeling good at all about the Braves bullpen right now. I told y'all we needed help. We didn't get it. We still don't have it. If we don't do anything about this bullpen, buckle up, Braves fans, because we might be in for a long season. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get some help. I hope the guys we have now also turn it around. I hope Luke Jackson, Jesse Biddle, Johnny Venters. Johnny Venters was the comeback player of the year last year, by the way. I hope they turn it around. It was better tonight. It was better. Actually, not really. They gave the lead. It was better. It was better during that 8-0 win, but it was 8-0. The Cubs seemed out of sync. I don't think the Cubs were all the way there. So we'll see. But I'm off that now. All right. Moving on to Athens. Something must be in the water. Something not good must be in the water. And some UGA football players must be drinking it because they tripping for real. I don't know what some of these UGA players are on, and it's not all of them, but Kirby got to get these boys together, man. Point blank, period. Because 9 arrests basically in the past year is ridiculous. Going back to April 12th of last year, Chad Clay and Julian Rochester both arrested for possession of weapon in a school zone and second-degree damage to property. Neither one of those guys are on the team anymore. Then, moving up to May 11th, Chauncey Rivers was arrested for felony violation of Georgia's Controlled Substance Act. He had possession of less than an ounce of marijuana. He was keeping the drugs in a container, parking in a parking spot designated for persons with disabilities. So he parked in a handicap spot, and he had possession of less than an ounce of marijuana on him. Now, I believe when you get to an ounce, over an ounce, that's when you can get charged with intent to sell, which is a big time felony. You don't want to get hit with that one. So Chauncey Rivers on May 11th, felony violation of Georgia's Controlled Substance Act, possession of less than an ounce of marijuana, and he also parked in a handicap spot. So now moving on to May 23rd of last year as well, Trey Bishop, he gets arrested for unlawful eavesdropping, basically saying that he allegedly recorded a sex act without the female's permission and he was showing people. Come on, bruh. Come on, Trey. Really, bruh? You in college, man. You gotta be smarter than that, man. If you first of all, you should have never even recorded the girl. You should have never recorded what y'all were doing. And then you recorded it, and then you gonna show people like the word not gonna get around. You know some of these college boys can't hold water. Come on, man. You gotta be smarter than that. And I'm gonna get to everybody else too. Don't worry. I'm gonna just keep moving through these though. So that was May 23rd of last year. Moving on to, I think I skipped one. I did skip one. So April 23rd of last year, Juwan Briscoe failed to wear a seatbelt and driving without a license. Not the worst one in this, but still, come on, you got to be smarter than that. If you didn't have your wallet on you, you should at least be wearing your seatbelt, and you should have been going back to get your wallet. Moving on to March 20th, Jonathan Ledbetter, underage possession, furnishing alcohol, possession, and making a false ID. So basically he was buying alcohol with a fake ID. Come on, Ledbetter. You're in college, man. You're a football player. You got so much else to live for. You got your whole life ahead of you. You have potential to possibly play in the NFL and live out your dream and play football for a living and make a lot of money doing it. But you want to get alcohol with a fake ID? These boys got to focus on the big picture, man. They don't see the opportunity in front of them. Come on. You got to be smarter than that. You got to have the right people in your circle. You got to have a good head on your shoulders. You got to have the right mentors. And I know they probably provide all that stuff at UGA. I'm sure they do. But I always like to say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And, these are only a few. It's not the whole UGA team, but this is a bad look for Kirby. This is a bad look. You got to get these boys under control, Kirby. Moving on to Chad Clay, who, like I said, is not on the team anymore. June 22nd of last year, theft. He was arrested for theft. What? You couldn't get whatever you needed? You couldn't ask maybe one of the coaches for help? I'm not saying get it to you because I know these NCAA violations are weird, but you couldn't ask somebody for help? I don't know his situation, but that doesn't mean you can just steal something. Like, come on. Like I said, you got to just look at the bigger picture, man. It's not worth it. If you have a chance to play in the NFL, you have to think, I'm about to be in a position to provide for my family if I just do the right thing, keep my head on straight, and take care of my business. You're going to have a chance to provide for your family, provide for yourself, and make a better life for yourself, man. And put yourself in a position to play football for a living, play the sport you love for a living, and make plenty of money doing it. Do you guys realize how many people want to be in that position? So many people would do crazy things to be in that position. And you want to just throw it all away that easily for some alcohol or to carry a gun on campus or to show your boys what you was doing with a girl? Like, come on, man. Petty stuff, bruh. Petty stuff. Doesn't make any sense to me. All right, I want to get into something positive. The Hawks beat the 76ers. Trae Young looked good. 33 points, 12 assists and 7 rebounds. Hey, man. He's trying to make himself a case for Rookie of the Year. Like I said, he's going to make it tough, but I think Luka's still going to have it, but he's definitely making it tough. He's making it tough on these voters. He's going to make it tough on them, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens down the stretch. John Collins did his thing too. John Collins had 25 and 8. these boys are going to be all right, man. They're going to be all right. Kevin Huerter had 15. Torian Prince had 13. Alex Len had 11. Alex Len, sneaky good pickup for the Hawks, too. He's been putting up some good numbers as of late. The other night against the Spurs, thinking he hit 5 threes, I think it was. 4 or 5. These Hawks are going to be okay. I'm really encouraged by them. Like I said, as long as we don't pull no nonsense like we did with that Chris Paul and Marvin Williams draft, don't want to think about it. I know I keep bringing it up. I know I keep doing it myself, but goodness gracious, that just haunts me. But anyways, if we get this draft right, and if the ping pong balls fall our way, they fall in our favor, and we can get to Zion, or we can get maybe a Cam Reddish or somebody of that nature. We just have to get it right, though. We have to get somebody that fits us, fits our system, fits what Coach Pierce wants to do. If we get this draft right, and I believe that we will because we got Trae Young right. I don't care what anybody says. We got Trae Young right. I know Luka is Luka, but Trae Young is doing what we wanted Trae Young to do. I don't care what anybody says. Trae Young's doing his thing. He's balling. He's going to come into his own, and he's going to work out for us. And Luka is going to work out for the Mavs most likely, but Trae's going to work out for us too. It doesn't have to be who's better, Both teams, I think, are going to get what they wanted out of this. So I think we're going to be okay. And I'm really excited to see it, man. I'm really excited to see it. But Hawks beat the 76ers with a final score of 130-122 yesterday. Also, that was just a quick thing on the Hawks. Also, I want to talk about the Falcons. I haven't really talked that much about the Falcons yet on the Hometown Take podcast. I was producing Thomas Mott's show on 92.9 The Game, Ready or Not. You guys should check it out. But I was producing this show, and he had Paul Crane on the show. He does the sports flashes for 92.9 The Game. Also has a podcast, Scouts Honor Podcast. You guys should check that out as well. Him and Dave T. Thomas, an NFL scout, give great information. And that brings me to telling that Paul Crane was talking about some of the information Dave T. Thomas gave about the Atlanta Falcons and where they might be looking in the draft. So if you guys have been following the NFL draft and pro days and all that good stuff, you'll know that Ed Oliver had a crazy good pro day. And now with him having that crazy good pro day, teams are flocking to him and scheduling interviews that they had not previously scheduled. The Jets at number 3, the Oakland Raiders at number 4, Tampa Bay at number 5, and the Giants at number 6, all scheduled interviews with Ed Oliver that were not previously scheduled. So they saw something at his pro day that was like, oh, maybe we should take another look at this guy. Maybe it was a little sleep on him. Maybe this is a guy we might want to take. This was all information that an NFL scout was giving Paul Crane that he was kind enough to share with us on Ready or Not. It was real interesting. The moment is actually up on 92.9 The Game. I actually posted the moment because I was producing that night, if you will. Actually, no, it was day. Anyways, that's besides the point. The point is that Dave T. Thomas was telling Paul Crane, and Paul Crane told Thomas on Ready or Not that Ed Oliver might not make it out of the top 5. Falcons are drafting at 14. He might not be there. He most likely actually will not be there at 14 for the Falcons. So they're going to have to trade up to get him, or next option, they're going to look at offensive linemen, which Dave T. Thomas was actually also telling Paul Crane that they have accessed the files on offensive tackle Cody Ford of Oklahoma, offensive tackle Andre Dillard, offensive tackle Jawan Taylor from Florida, offensive tackle Jonah Williams from Alabama, and one of his super sleepers that they talked about a couple weeks ago and will again talk about when they break down offensive linemen in their podcast, Titus Howard from Alabama State. So those are all the offensive linemen that the Falcons have access to files on. And since Dave T. Thomas works as an NFL as an NFL scout, he actually sees when the teams go in and access the files, which are basically like the stats and the paperwork and that sort of thing on those players. He sees when the teams do that. So he has seen that the Falcons have accessed all the files on all those players I just listed to you. Now, back to the Ed Oliver thing. Teams do blow smoke and try to throw other teams off the trail. So they'll say one thing when they're really planning to do another thing, just so a team can't, try to block a team, or, try to get a team to not get the player they actually want. So they'll blow smoke and make it seem like they're going to make a certain move when they actually have no intentions on making that move at all. But Dave T. Thomas was telling Paul Crane that the Jets, the Raiders, Tampa Bay, the Giants, they aren't blowing smoke. They're for real about Ed Oliver, and they're for real that they're serious about him. They ain't playing no games. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Falcons and what they do come the draft. So exciting times here in Atlanta. We got the Braves trying to get it together. I know I went on a whole rant, but I'm still excited. Hopefully we can turn things around. Hopefully the bullpen gets a little more reliable. Even though I'm hard on them, I'm still hopeful. I'm still a fan at heart. I'm still giving you guys my side as a fan. I'm hopeful, man. I'm not very happy with them right now, but I'm hopeful. The Hawks are definitely trending in the right direction in my eyes. And the Falcons, their window is still open. Closing near a deal with Julio Jones. Got Matt Ryan, got Calvin Ridley. Gonna get the defense back. Gonna get Ricardo Allen, Keanu Neal. Debo's gonna hopefully be healthy for a full season as well. Hopefully we get another good D tackle. Maybe another good offensive lineman. We got some moves to get 2 offensive guards during free agency because Matt Ryan helped us free up some cap space. Don't tell me Matt Ryan ain't never did nothing good for us. He won us an MVP, almost won us a Super Bowl, I know. Almost, it only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. But Matt Ryan is not the problem on this team. And anybody that says that, you're crazy to me. You're just crazy. He carried the team last year. And if you have any disagreements, if you agree with me, anything like that, have any comments, comment, like, and subscribe this video. But Matt Ryan is not the problem on this team. He never has been. Never has been. I know he's not perfect. I know he's had a bad season, but he's not the problem. We were injured last year. The defense was the problem. The offense stalled at times. It did, I know. But we got that. We're gonna get this figured out. Hopefully Dirk Cutter coming back is gonna help. But it's exciting times here in Atlanta. Our teams are all trending in the right direction. And hopefully we start making some serious runs here in the playoffs for all our respective teams. It's the Hometown Take podcast, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all the support. Please like, subscribe, share this video. And I'm going to talk to you guys soon again. It's the Hometown Take podcast with Dylan Matthews. I'm out.